Imagine this. It's late 2025. The sun sets over the Persian Gulf, casting a reddish hue on the horizon. Global oil prices are skyrocketing. International news outlets buzz with breaking reports. Iran has just completed a groundbreaking military exercise involving hypersonic drones, satellite warfare, and AI-driven defense systems. The Pentagon releases a rare statement. We are closely monitoring the situation. Welcome to the new era of power in the Middle East. For decades, Iran has stood at the center of geopolitical tension. Often portrayed as a rogue state, its military capacity has long been a subject of speculation, debate, and concern. But as of 2025, Iran is no longer simply a regional player. It's rapidly evolving into a global military influencer. In this documentary, we're going to explore how Iran's military has grown into one of the most self-sufficient and unpredictable forces on the planet. We'll trace its historical roots, evaluate its present capabilities, and look ahead to the near future. Through the eyes of fictional experts, intelligence simulations, and credible economic forecasts. And this isn't just about war and weapons. The rise of Iran's military power is reshaping global finance, oil flows, political alliances, and trade routes. Whether you're a student of history, an investor, or a policy enthusiast, what's happening in Iran could dramatically impact the USA, UK, and the world economy. So buckle up. This isn't just a history lesson. This is a journey through time, technology, and tension, one that could define the global order in the years ahead. To understand the strength Iran commands in 2025, we must go back to its foundational military transformations. The Islamic Revolution in 1979 was the turning point. It dismantled the Western-trained military hierarchy of the Shah and replaced it with ideologically driven forces, particularly the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, IRGC, a parallel military structure that prioritized loyalty to the regime over conventional tactics. During the Iran-Iraq War, 1980-1988, Iran faced a brutal conflict that led to over 500,000 deaths. Isolated from the global arms market due to embargoes, Iran was forced to innovate. This crucible forged a doctrine of asymmetric warfare, a strategy that relied on unconventional methods, proxies, and the use of geography and ideology to neutralize superior firepower. The 1990s and early 2000s saw Iran investing in missile technology, naval capabilities in the Strait of Hormuz, and regional proxies. Hezbollah in Lebanon, militias in Iraq, and support for Assad's regime in Syria gave Iran strategic depth. Its forces could influence battlefields far from its own borders. By 2010, Iran began advancing its drone technology, a decision largely ignored by the West until its drones showed deadly precision in regional conflicts. The nuclear program escalated tensions globally, although the 2015 JCPOA temporarily curtailed Iran's ambitions. The U.S. withdrawal from the deal in 2018 reignited Iran's pursuit of strategic deterrence. The assassination of General Qasem Soleimani in 2020, arguably Iran's most powerful military mind, was seen as a devastating blow. Yet it only accelerated Iran's determination to decentralize military leadership, increase technological integration, and deepen ties with Russia, China, and North Korea. By the early 2020s, sanctions had cornered Iran economically, but paradoxically, they made its military more self-sufficient. Local engineers and black market deals filled the gaps. From reverse-engineered U.S. weapons to entirely indigenous production lines, Iran's military was quietly but steadily growing. As 2025 arrives, this decades-long evolution culminates in a defense machine that's adaptive, resilient, and no longer predictable. Current climate. As of 2025, Iran's military posture is defined by strategic flexibility, regional entrenchment, and technological evolution. With escalating tensions in the Strait of Hormuz, ongoing proxy wars, and growing international isolation, Tehran has doubled down on creating a military ecosystem that thrives without Western cooperation. Technological leapfrog. One of the most impressive recent developments is Iran's drone fleet. Using commercial components, local manufacturing, and reverse-engineered Western designs, Iran has built an arsenal that includes suicide drones, surveillance UAVs, and long-range combat drones. The Shahed 136, for example, has seen action in Ukraine via Russian deployment, Syria, and Iraq. Iran's cyber warfare capabilities have also matured. The IRGC's cyber division has been linked to data breaches in U.S. infrastructure, Israeli water systems, and European banking institutions. Unlike conventional warfare, cyber warfare offers Tehran plausible deniability while delivering maximum geopolitical leverage. Regional influence. Iran's real-time battlefield experience continues through its network of proxies. In Syria, Iranian-backed militias remain critical to Assad's regime. In Iraq, Kataib Hezbollah and similar groups have become political players. The Houthis in Yemen now deploy advanced missile systems and drone swarms, many of which originate in Iran. This decentralization allows Iran to exert influence while maintaining distance from direct blame. It's not just a military strategy, it's a geopolitical chess move that drains the resources and attention of rival powers, especially the United States, Saudi Arabia, and Israel. Naval and ballistic development. Despite U.S. naval presence in the Persian Gulf, Iran has expanded its maritime capabilities. The IRGC Navy focuses on asymmetric warfare, fast attack boats, mine-laying, and anti-ship missiles. It also boasts a fleet of mini-submarines, ideal for shallow waters. Iran's ballistic missile program is now the most advanced in the Middle East. Ranging from short-range to medium-range systems, Iran's missiles can strike American bases. In the region, Israeli cities, and European targets. Satellite imagery suggests development of long-range systems that could eventually pose a transcontinental threat. Isolation breeds innovation. Ongoing sanctions have cut Iran off from global financial systems, weapons markets, and technology pipelines. Yet this hasn't crippled its military. It has motivated underground networks, domestic production, and innovation. Iran's defense sector now produces armored vehicles, small arms, electronic warfare tools, and even advanced radar systems. In effect, Iran is creating its own military-industrial complex, one that doesn't rely on NATO, Russia, or China, but engages selectively with each. This independence gives Iran leverage. It doesn't owe allegiance to any major power bloc, making it an unpredictable force on the world stage. Nuclear ambiguity. Iran's nuclear program remains shrouded in mystery. While officially claiming peaceful intent, intelligence agencies suggest Iran is months away from weaponization capability. The Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, JCPOA, collapsed in 2018, and efforts to revive it have faltered. Enrichment levels now exceed pre-deal limits. The ambiguity serves Tehran's interests. It creates a permanent state of caution among its enemies while avoiding the consequences of a confirmed weapons test. Strategic psychology. Beyond hardware and software, Iran's real-time strategy is psychological. It keeps adversaries guessing. It signals aggression while practicing restraint. It projects weakness to lure underestimation and then retaliates with ferocity. This blend of tactics, ideology, and unpredictability is what defines Iran's current climate. The stage is now set for global implications, not just for military analysts, but for investors, diplomats, and global citizens alike. The rise of Iran's military prowess in 2025 isn't occurring in isolation. It is sending ripple effects through global financial markets, trade networks, and defense strategies. 1. Oil prices and energy security. Iran controls the Strait of Hormuz, a choke point for 30% of global oil. In a recent drill, it demonstrated the ability to shut this down in under 12 hours using underwater drones and EMP devices. Insurance costs for shipping have surged. U.S. and U.K. importers face skyrocketing energy costs. 2. Global defense spending. In response, Saudi Arabia, Israel, and NATO countries have increased military budgets. The UK has announced its biggest naval deployment to the Gulf since 2003. The U.S. Congress just passed the 2026 Maritime Shield Act, allocating $80 billion for Gulf operations. 3. Stock market volatility. Financial institutions are seeing instability in energy stocks, cyber defense sectors, and rare earth supply chains. Iran's alliance with China has allowed it to access materials critical for defense tech, prompting a Western scramble for diversification. 4. Proxy wars and humanitarian impact. Iran's influence in Syria, Iraq and Lebanon is intensifying. U.S. bases in Iraq face constant harassment. Yemen's Houthis, empowered by Iranian tech, are targeting Red Sea trade routes. Civilian casualties, refugee crises, and regional instability are surging. 5. Realignment of global powers. Russia, China, and Iran are conducting joint military exercises, reshaping NATO's strategy. The US and UK are re-engaging in Middle East diplomacy, offering aid and defense pacts to counterbalance Iran. 6. Financial warfare. Iran is using crypto and blockchain-based currencies to sidestep SWIFT and US Treasury surveillance. It is quietly becoming a hub for black market arms trade and cybercrime economies, blurring the line between state and criminal activity. The world is watching, but is it ready to respond? Expert opinions. As Iran's military continues to evolve under immense geopolitical pressure, experts from various fields have voiced detailed assessments on its capabilities, strategic intentions, and future trajectory. These insights are crucial for understanding not only what Iran can do militarily, but why it chooses the paths it does. Military strategist's perspective. Dr. Karim Sajjadpour, a senior fellow at the Carnegie Endowment for International Peace, asserts that Iran's strategy is deeply rooted in asymmetry, regional influence, and deterrence. He argues that Tehran isn't attempting to match NATO or Israel tank for tank or plane for plane, but rather to build a mosaic of regional leverage points, including proxy networks, cyber warfare capacity, and ballistic deterrence. Former U.S. CENTCOM Commander General Kenneth McKenzie supports this view, stating that Iran's real strength lies in its ability to orchestrate chaos at arm's length. According to him, Iran's power projection does not rely solely on conventional military strength, but on a networked force model, incorporating Hezbollah, the Houthis, Iraqi militias, and more. Cybersecurity experts' warnings. Cybersecurity analysts like John Hultquist, Mandiant's VP of Threat Intelligence, warn that Iran's cyber warfare operations have advanced significantly in the last 5 years. Their state-sponsored hackers, primarily APT-33, APT-34, and APT-35, have become more sophisticated in targeting both infrastructure and private enterprise across Israel, Saudi Arabia, and the West. Israel's National Cyber Directorate published a report in early 2025 detailing a 43% increase in cyber attacks originating from Iranian-linked groups, many of which targeted water systems, financial infrastructure, and government portals. These operations, while rarely catastrophic, aim to spread fear, test defenses, and project psychological dominance. Nuclear analysts' alarm bells. According to David Albright, president of the Institute for Science and International Security, Iran's nuclear timeline has shrunk significantly. He asserts, while they may not be actively building a bomb, Iran is now closer than ever to weaponization capability. This includes enriched uranium stockpiles at 60% purity and expanded centrifuge arrays at Fordow and Natanz. Ilana Delosier, a fellow at the Washington Institute, notes that Iran has kept IAEA inspectors at arm's length while maintaining dual-use research that could easily pivot to nuclear applications. She emphasizes that deterrence has shifted from policy to threat. The West now operates under the premise that Iran could build a weapon if it decides, not when. Regional security experts on proxies Middle East analyst Firas Maqsad explains that Iran's use of proxy militias isn't simply about ideology, it's about geostrategic buffers. Iran cannot compete with U.S. aircraft carriers, but it can destabilize shipping through the Houthis in Yemen, he notes. This proxy doctrine is seen not only as a shield against invasion, but also a tool for projecting influence without formal declaration of war. According to Lebanese political analyst Mona Harb, Hezbollah's involvement in Syria, Iraq, and even domestic Lebanese politics gives Iran a multi-layered advantage. These groups offer Iran political intelligence, ground-level control, and plausible deniability, she says. Tehran's strength lies in its ability to act without revealing its full hand. Defense contractors and satellite intelligence firms, high-resolution satellite analysis firms like Maxar Technologies and Planet Labs have been closely monitoring Iran's underground missile facilities and UAV production lines. A February 2025 report suggests that Iran has expanded 2 underground missile silos near Khorramabad and further upgraded the Shahid Hemmet Industrial Complex, home to IRGC Missile Engineering. Lockheed Martin's Threat Assessment Division noted that Iran's drone technology is now on par with some early-generation Western UAVs. Their Shahed 136 and Mohajer 6 models have been used not only in Yemen and Iraq, but exported to Russia for use in Ukraine, blurring the line between domestic capability and global utility. Western intelligence consensus. Declassified intelligence assessments from both MI6 and the CIA suggest Iran has no immediate plans to launch a full-scale war, but it is prepared for one. Their objective appears to be regional supremacy through layered deterrence. An MI6 briefing from late 2024 reads, Iran's strategic planning is built on the assumption that deterrence, conventional proxy and nuclear, is more effective than direct conflict. Their doctrine is rooted in resisting occupation, surviving sanctions, and waiting out adversaries. CIA Director William Burns echoed this in congressional hearings, calling Iran an intelligence state disguised as a revolutionary one, and warning that underestimating Iran's patience and ideological commitment would be a strategic error. Critics and skeptics. Not everyone believes in Iran's military strength. Some critics argue that Iran's aging air force, reliance on black market components, and struggling economy will eventually limit its capacity. Retired Israeli General Amos Yadlin remarked, Iran may bark loudly, but its bite is still more limited than it admits. A few more years of sanctions, and its systems could degrade beyond repair. However, others caution against this overconfidence. As journalist Farnaz Fasihi writes in the New York Times, Iran has always turned weakness into strength. Every embargo builds their domestic industry. Every threat strengthens their ideology. Future predictions. By 2025, Iran's military is set to enter a new phase, one marked not by brute strength, but by tactical innovation, psychological warfare, and regional maneuvering. This section will explore projected developments and the strategic outcomes they may produce in the near future. 1. Next-gen ballistic missile programs. Iran is expected to expand its Khorramshahr and Sajil missile programs, with newer variants boasting greater range, speed, and evasiveness. These solid-fuel missiles are designed for quick launch and limited detection windows, making them harder to intercept. Defense analysts predict Iran could achieve a reliable range of over 2,500 kilometers by 2026, bringing all of Israel and parts of Europe into its strike zone. Integration with satellite targeting, possibly via Russian or Chinese assistance, could further increase precision. 2. Hypersonic and space capabilities. In late 2024, Iran announced a prototype for a hypersonic glide vehicle, HGV. Though still early stage, this signals an ambition to enter a field currently dominated by the US, China, and Russia. Military futurist Peter W. Singer believes Iran could test a viable hypersonic missile by 2027, giving it a psychological advantage and drawing Western resources into missile defense. Moreover, Iran's expanding space program, while ostensibly civilian, could be dual use. The launch of the Qaem 100 rocket hints at potential military satellite deployment. If Tehran can achieve reliable orbital reconnaissance, its battlefield awareness would increase dramatically. 3. AI-driven warfare and drones. By 2025, Iran's drone fleet is projected to exceed 3,000 units, including suicide drones, surveillance UAVs, and AI-assisted loitering munitions. Iranian engineers, trained via joint programs with Russia and China, are integrating facial recognition and autonomous target selection into their next-gen drones. These AI advancements mean that Iranian drones can be deployed for precision strikes with little human oversight. Analysts predict their usage in asymmetric naval warfare, urban combat, and covert international operations will only increase. 3. AI-driven warfare and drones. By 2025, Iran's drone fleet is projected to exceed 3,000 units, including suicide drones, surveillance UAVs, and AI-assisted loitering munitions. Iranian engineers, trained via joint programs with Russia and China, are integrating facial recognition and autonomous target selection into their next-gen drones. These AI advancements mean that Iranian drones can be deployed for precision strikes with little human oversight. Analysts predict their usage in asymmetric naval warfare, urban combat, and covert international operations will only increase. 4. Naval upgrades in the Strait of Hormuz. Iran's navy is undergoing rapid modular upgrades. Fast attack boats are now equipped with longer-range anti-ship missiles and electronic jamming equipment. Iran has also introduced stealthier mini-subs that could be used for sabotage or surveillance missions in contested waters. By 2025, Iranian naval doctrine will likely include hybrid tactics, manned and unmanned systems working together to choke key oil shipping lanes without triggering full war. The West will be forced to decide between escalating or economically absorbing such disruptions. 5. Proxy expansion into Africa and South Asia. Future intelligence assessments suggest Iran is looking to expand its proxy network beyond the Middle East. Outreach to Shia minorities in Nigeria, Afghanistan, and Pakistan suggests Tehran is building ideological and logistical support in these new territories. By mid-2025, IRGC operatives may already be training groups in sub-Saharan Africa, providing drones and small arms in exchange for influence and destabilization efforts. This global expansion may mirror China's Belt and Road, but through ideological militias rather than trade. 6. Iran-Israel. Tensions. Escalating Israel's airstrikes on Iranian targets in Syria are expected to intensify, possibly leading to direct retaliation. Mossad reports suggest Iran could soon launch a precision strike on Israeli military assets using drones or missiles, testing Iron Dome's limits and gauging international response. Any such clash could provoke a regional war, but experts predict both sides will dance on the edge rather than lead, each hoping to preserve deterrence without escalation. 7. Economic constraints versus military expansion. While sanctions continue to throttle Iran's economy, black market networks and cryptocurrency are expected to keep military funding alive. The IRGC controls major segments of the economy and diverts resources directly into weapons R&D and defense logistics. By 2025, Iran will likely maintain a $30 billion annual military budget with increasing emphasis on domestic production, missile development, and cyber warfare, eschewing tanks or fighter jets for more scalable and deniable tools. 8. Nuclear ambiguity as leverage. Iran is expected to continue enriching uranium to just below weapons grade while refusing full IAEA transparency. This policy of strategic ambiguity will remain Tehran's trump card, keeping Israel and the West cautious, yet avoiding full diplomatic isolation. The US and EU may try renewed negotiations, but Iran's strategy will be to gain sanctions relief without halting its nuclear or military progress, a delicate balancing act it has perfected over decades. 9. Regional realignment and Eastern partnerships. Iran is moving eastward. As U.S. influence wanes, Tehran is deepening military ties with Russia, China, and even India. Joint exercises, intelligence sharing, and arms deals are expected to increase in 2025. Iran's inclusion in BRICS and SCO forums positions it as a counterweight to Western hegemony. Experts believe this new axis will empower Iran to resist diplomatic pressure and access advanced technologies it previously lacked. 10. 2025. Summary: the silent expansion. In 2025, Iran's military posture will likely appear unchanged on the surface, but beneath lies a quiet, determined transformation. Its reliance on proxies, cyber tools, and deterrent strategies will continue, but now underpinned by better tech, more global connections, and sharpened resolve. As political analyst Trita Parsi summarizes, Iran doesn't want open war. It wants to be uninvadable, unignorable, and unbreakable. And by the end of 2025, it may just get there.
We begin this journey in the shadow of tension, a desert sky illuminated by the threat of drones and missiles. But as we look back on Iran's military evolution, what becomes clear is not just its growing strength, but its calculated resilience. Iran's rise is not accidental. It's the product of decades of sanctions, conflict, and isolation, each forging a nation that learns, adapts, and retaliates not just with force, but with foresight. As of 2025, Iran commands attention not through wealth or alliances, but through unpredictability. It has weaponized everything from oil to ideology, proxy forces to cyber codes. And it has done so with an efficiency that even global superpowers struggle to counter. For the US and UK, the implications are clear. Deterrence is no longer enough. Engagement, innovation, and perhaps most importantly, understanding, will define the next phase of this rivalry. But what about you? Let's bring this conversation to you, the viewer. Do you believe Iran's military strategy is defensive or aggressive? Will global powers adapt fast enough to avoid open conflict? Could Iran actually be a stabilizing force in disguise? Drop your thoughts in the comments. We want to hear from military analysts, students, skeptics, and dreamers alike. And if you found this video insightful, hit that like button. Subscribe for more History Meets Money content, and ring the bell so you never miss our future documentaries. Don't forget to follow us on YouTube at Epic Wealth and History. Every week, we bring you bold stories from the past and the futures they're creating. Thanks for watching, and stay curious.